Hey, what's going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be showing you all how you can easily download custom profiles for your Framemeister, aka the XRGB-mini, and load them onto your system easily. So, what we're going to be doing for this is we're going to find a few links down below in the description, really only one that we need, but I'm going to direct you all to this site by FireBrandX, who this guy is awesome and has done a bunch of work creating these custom profiles. Now, in case you don't have a Framemeister or you're thinking of getting one, yes, it is a lovely piece of hardware as long as you have all the tools and you kind of know how to use it, which for how much it is, which is about $400, $500 depending on where you go, it's helpful to know how to actually use it so it doesn't just sit there and collect dust. Now, you can create your own profiles, set up your own settings, or you can get these ones that have been custom made already and are really good to go based on, several users' feedback and such. So if you go down below to the link that is in the description, you can find all these profiles, and these are updated pretty regularly. So I'd recommend checking back, once a month, once every other month or something. You just want to click this link right here to download the Framemeister profile package. So we're now going to need a few things. First of all, we're going to need a microSD card. Yes, it must be a microSD card, and we are going to format it to FAT32. So I'm going to right click format. I'll just do the default allocation size. It doesn't need a name, and just do FAT32 default on there. That is what the Framemeister recognizes. So once this is formatted, there we go. We can exit out of that. Of course, make sure you've cleaned up your card, you have all the stuff you need off of it, and then go over to the profiles. We're going to right click and extract this right here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the folder, and you're going to see several different folders right here, which you're probably going to be taken aback and you won't be sure on what to do. Well, that's easy. What you can do is go to profile descriptions, double click this, and it gives you a breakdown of every single profile. So they're categorized by their folders and then categorized by name. So for example, let's look for sat720.bin. You can look for sat720.bin. 720 just right there, and it comes up, which means NTSC Sega Saturn 240p modes 3x vertical scaled and aspect corrected, and you can do that with any of the files there. Now, you're probably going to want to play around and see what exactly you might like the most. Obviously from here, the 1080p profiles are much more known and they are propagated all over the place. So 1080p seems to be what FireBrandX was gunning after. So if you like 720p more, you might be a bit out of luck, but we're probably going to see some more profiles from there in the future. But anyways, what we are going to do at this point is, let's see, I'll go ahead and just grab a few bin files right here. You're just going to grab the files that you want and you're going to right click and copy them. And now this is where it gets a little bit confusing, or really people got confused on this because they weren't sure of the folder structure. A lot of people just thought you can just dump the bin files in here. You can't do that. It has to be in a certain folder structure. So for that, what we're going to do is right click, create a new folder, and we're going to call this folder right here XRGB-mini, all one word. Now you can enter this and we're going to create another folder. So right click, create new folder, and we're going to call this one EEP data. Enter that, and now you can paste all of your profiles into EEP data. Now that they're all right there, there's a few things that you're going to want to keep in mind. First of all, they are limited by characters, so the only thing I would really do, I guess I would remove, the numbers right here. This is just on my personal card, for example. I would just remove it like that. On top of that, you're only allowed to have up to 20 profiles on a card. Can you put more on there? Yeah, you can. The problem is when you load them up on the Framemeister, only 20 profiles are going to show up. So just run on the assumption that you're going to have 20 profiles on this card. So as you can see, they're really not that big. They're about 2 kilobytes a piece, and honestly, my 8 GB card is complete overkill for this, but I digress. This is the one that I had laying around. So once you have all of that set up, let's say these are the 3 profiles that we want, we're happy with the names, all that other fun stuff, we're going to just go here, we're going to safely eject this, and now take your SD card out and make sure your Framemeister is turned off and pop it into the Framemeister. So now that we're over at the Framemeister, as you can see, I'm going to bring up the menu right here, and you're going to want to go over to data first off, and you might have had this issue before. So if you go over to one of these, which would be like load or load select, for example, which would probably be load select right here, everything's going to be grayed out, so you really can't do too much. Now, I've run into this issue when I have either loaded new profiles on there or erased some, or if I've changed out SD cards like I've done on here. So this is at least what I've done to get over this, and granted, this is going to reset your device. So if you have any settings dialed in, just make sure you take note of them. You can even save them if you need to, but I'm going to go down to reset, and I'm going to say OK to that. And now after a quick power cycle, as you can see, everything is still in English if you have modified yours to run on English, but the visual output might be a bit different on here. So what we're going to do is go over to data, go to load select, and as you can see, your bin files now pop up. So for example, I'm going to select this one, which would be the Game Boy player. Going to hit enter on there, and it's going to ask you what input you want. Since we're going to be doing RGB, because you have to put it to the input, I'm going to select RGB. Now we just wait for it to power cycle a bit, and now at this point the setting has been applied. Now because this has been reset, you might want to change your settings here, so definitely make sure the HDMI is the output mode, which it should be by default. But when you go here, this is why this menu is so big. You're actually going to want to go over and physically select your 1080p mode if you can find it. So it's actually right here. I need the 1080p 60, and as you can see, now that the menu is smaller, we are on 1080p. So we have our input setting applied to the RGB input, and the custom profile is set up there, and we're also in 1080p, which was required for this profile right here. So that's really all there is to this setup. Hopefully this helped you out if you are a new Framemeister owner or you just needed a crash course. But anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would very much be appreciated. If you absolutely hated it, a dislike is fine as well too.